At my graduation party, my uncle stood up and said, "I'm so proud I paid for that degree." My heart dropped. I'd worked 3 jobs and taken out loans. Later, I asked him why he lied. He said, "It's not lying. It's branding. You owe me for my reputation." So I posted my entire loan statement and paycheck history online, tagging him. His business lost 12 clients in a day. I still remember what the air smelled like that day: cheap cologne, frosting, and rotisserie chicken. My graduation party wasn't much. Nothing like those big backyard bashes other kids had. It was held at a community rec center in Aurora, Colorado. Fluorescent lights. Folding tables. My mom and I set it up ourselves. She spent 3 nights prepping food she could barely afford. But it meant everything to me. Graduating college wasn't just a milestone, it was survival. I had scraped through 4 years of hell. I worked 3 jobs, sometimes 4 when I picked up cleaning shifts on weekends. I took out over $48,000 in student loans. Some months I had $11 left after rent and food. I'd cry in bed from exhaustion, then wake up and keep going. Nobody gave me anything. Not a scholarship, not a free ride, and definitely not a penny from my Uncle Rick. Rick was my mom's older brother. He owns a heating and cooling company in Denver, RG Mechanical Services. He's the kind of guy who brags about his wealth but never pays for lunch. Shows up late to holidays, leaves early. We weren't close. He'd sometimes give me half-hearted career advice like, work hard, but not too hard, own the business, don't be the business, and act like he was dropping wisdom from the mountaintop. So when he showed up to my graduation party, I was surprised. He even brought a bottle of Sprite and one of those supermarket cookie platters. But then he did that thing. Halfway through the party, right after I had cut the cake, Rick stood up. He clinked his glass loudly and said, "Can I say a few words?" People quieted down. Some pulled out phones, expecting a touching family speech. "I just want to say how proud I am of my niece," he said, smiling wide like he was at a damn press conference. "It's been a journey. For long years. A lot of work. But we got her across that stage." I looked around, confused. My mom was frozen beside me. I've always believed in her. That's why I made sure she had what she needed. Paid her tuition. Supported her when it counted. Seeing her walk across that stage today, it made every dollar I spent feel worth it. People clapped, smiled, nodded. I saw my cousin Ellie mouth, "Wow." I was stunned. My throat went dry. I was still holding a plate of cake. What the hell was he talking about? After the party, I caught him outside while he was unlocking his truck. I wasn't mad yet, just confused. "Hey," I said, keeping my voice calm. "Why did you say you paid for my tuition?" He didn't even look guilty, just smiled and shrugged. "It's not lying," he said. "It's branding." I blinked. "Branding? People respect generosity," he said. "You're my niece. You graduating reflects well on me. Helps my image. Gives the family name a little boost. Nothing wrong with that." My heart pounded. "But you didn't pay anything." "I worked 3 jobs. I took out every loan. I almost dropped out twice because I couldn't make rent." He scoffed. "Yeah, well, it's not about the details. It's about the story. Besides, you owe me a little credit." "Just for the association." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "I owe you nothing," I said, shaking. He laughed. "Don't be dramatic. Grow up. You'll understand one day when you run your own business." He got in his truck and drove off like he'd done nothing wrong. I stood there in that parking lot for a long time. My mom came out and asked if I was okay. I told her everything. Her face went hard. She didn't say much, just muttered, "That man's always been full of it." But I wasn't just angry, I was humiliated. He told dozens of people that lie. And they believed him. I stewed on it for 2 days. At first, I thought I'd just let it go. People forget speeches. It's not worth the fight. But then I remembered what he said, "You owe me for my reputation." That's when I realized his reputation mattered more to him than anything. And he had built it partly on my story. So I decided to take it back. First, I gathered every document I could find. Loan records, disbursements, statements from Navient and the federal loan website. Screenshots of every paycheck I earned from age 18 to 22. My job at the diner. The janitor work. The 3 a.m. shifts at the grocery store. All of it. I uploaded everything into a public Google Drive and labeled it "My College Receipts, the Truth." Then I made a Facebook and LinkedIn post. It took me 4 hours to write. I rewrote it 12 times. I kept it simple, clean, and brutal. At my graduation party, my Uncle Rick publicly claimed he paid for my college education. That is false. I worked multiple jobs and took out over $48,000 in loans. I have no sponsors, no family money, just hard work and debt. I'm proud of what I've done, and I won't let someone steal that story. Full receipts in the link. Tagging his business here, since he values branding. I tagged RG Mechanical Services. The post got shared 600 times in 48 hours. Friends, family, even strangers started commenting. This is disgusting. What a fraud. I used to hire his company for church work, not anymore. One of his biggest contracts, a commercial HVAC account for a local office park, dropped him by day 3. A client he'd serviced for 7 years. Gone. Another family-owned warehouse followed. Then a restaurant group. In total, I counted 12 clients he lost. People messaged me privately to thank me for being honest. Some even said they'd suspected Rick wasn't as generous as he pretended to be. He called my mom screaming, "She destroyed me. I'm bleeding money." She told the truth, my mom said. "You did this to yourself." He tried to call me too, left a voicemail snarling about lawsuits and defamation. I didn't respond. I posted his voicemail too. I wasn't scared. I had the receipts. He later tried to post a public apology, some garbage about miscommunication and family misunderstanding. I didn't respond. I was already focusing on grad school applications. The best part? Someone from CU Boulder's alumni newsletter reached out and asked to feature my story, my real story about working through school with no help. They wanted me. Not Rick. The newsletter came out a month later. It was a short write-up in CU Boulder's Alumni Spotlight series. They called it, "Working Through the Fire, One Graduate's Journey Without a Safety Net." My photo was there. Me in my cap and gown standing outside the stadium, exhausted but smiling. The piece mentioned the jobs I worked, the debt I took on, and the pride I felt walking across the stage. They didn't mention Rick, but people who knew the backstory saw it for what it was. Rick must have seen it too, because 2 days later I got a message from a girl named Tara. She used to be his office manager. "Quit 6 months ago. Hey," she wrote. "Just read your post. I believe you." Rick used to tell us all the time to pad the image. He lied about stuff constantly. Charity work, military discounts, donations he never made. She added, "I still have some of the files if you ever need them." At first, I didn't respond. I thought it was over. He'd already lost business. People knew the truth. I had nothing left to prove. But then a week later, I got a call from a guy named Darren. He runs a real estate firm that used to hire Rick's company for HVAC installs in their rental properties. He said he wanted to talk in person. I met him at a coffee shop in Lakewood. He was in his 50s, tall, serious, straight to the point. "I've done business with Rick for over a decade," he said. "Your post didn't surprise me. What did surprise me is how fast he turned around and blamed you." "Blamed me?" "Yeah. He's been telling everyone you're mentally unstable. Said you're having a breakdown, that you forged the documents." My stomach dropped. He handed me a printout, an email Rick had sent to multiple clients, including Darren. "My niece is going through some emotional difficulties. Unfortunately, she's fabricated stories online to get attention. We're working on resolving the situation privately. Please don't let this distraction affect our professional relationship." He was painting me as unstable. I went home shaking. I wanted to scream. I thought about ignoring it, but something told me this wasn't going away quietly. So I called Tara. "Hey," I said. "You mentioned you had files. What kind?" She didn't even hesitate. "Invoices. Internal notes. Stuff we were told to say on the phones. There's an entire Google folder. I never deleted it." She sent it to me. Hundreds of files. Over the next 3 days, I read through all of it. What I found wasn't just shady, it was illegal. Fake invoices. False warranty claims. Discounts promised but never given. Notes that said things like, "Tell them it's not covered," when it actually was. It wasn't just lies about me. Rick had been lying to customers for years. That's when I realized this wasn't just personal anymore. It was criminal. I sat there staring at Tara's files, feeling my hands sweat. There was one spreadsheet labeled warranty flags. It had over 70 entries. Names, addresses, what the client was told, and a column labeled actual status, where Rick had written things like, "Should be free," "Covered," and lied, "Charged anyway." Another folder was titled Rebrand Phase. Inside were email drafts, website mock-ups, and fake charity event proposals, none of which ever happened. It was all image work, fabricated, meant to make him look like a community leader. He wasn't just lying about my story. He was running a scam. I called Tara again. Did you ever report this? She hesitated. I thought about it, but I didn't want to go down with the ship. I signed an NDA. NDA or not, this is fraud. She paused, then said if someone else reports it first. I'd back it. That night, I wrote an anonymous tip to the Colorado Department of Regulatory Agencies. I attached everything, the fake invoices, the messages, the client records. I thought that would be it. I figured they'd investigate quietly, maybe fine him. I didn't want to get more involved. I was already tired of carrying this around. But it didn't stay quiet. 2 weeks later, someone posted on the Denver Business Watchdog Facebook group. A client who had seen the alumni newsletter then started digging. Anyone else been ripped off by RG Mechanical? I found out he charged me for a full unit install but reused my old parts. Comments exploded. People chimed in. Some even recognized Rick from other contractor jobs. Old Yelp reviews got reposted. His Google rating dropped to 1.8 stars in 3 days. Then I got an email from a lawyer. Not his, mine. Back in college, I'd helped a law student named Callie with her finals in exchange for late-night rides home. She remembered me. Now she worked at a small firm in Denver. I saw what's going on, she wrote. If you want to protect yourself, let me help. You may have a retaliation case if he's spreading lies about your mental health. I hadn't even thought about that. But the more I read Rick's emails, the more it made sense. He wasn't just covering his ass. He was trying to destroy me to protect himself. I agreed to meet with her. That same week, my mom told me Rick had come by her house. Banged on the door. She didn't answer, but he left a note in her mailbox. Tell your daughter to stop. I built this company from the ground up. She's about to lose a lot more than she thinks. He had no shame. That night, I sat down and drafted a public post, not a rant. Just a list. Every time Rick lied. Every time he took credit for something he didn't do. Every dollar he stole. And every message he'd sent to discredit me. Then I ended it with this: you told me I owed you for your reputation. So here it is, Rick. This is what it looks like now. It got picked up by a local news blog. And the next call I got wasn't from Rick. It was from a state investigator. The investigator who called said his name was Luis. He worked for the Colorado Attorney General's Office, Consumer Protection Division. He asked if I had time to talk. He said he'd seen the documents I sent and that the state was already looking into Rick's business because of unrelated complaints. My tip and Tara's files had filled in the blanks. His license is being reviewed, Luis said. And if the fraud checks out, we'll be forwarding this to the DA. I didn't know whether to feel relief or fear. I'd started this because of a lie at a party. Now I was in the middle of a real investigation. 2 months passed. During that time, Rick tried everything. He emailed me fake apologies. Left voicemails begging me to settle things quietly. He even offered me money $10,000 to take down the posts and stop the drama. I didn't respond. Then the real fallout began. The state froze his business accounts during the investigation. His truck sat idle in a parking lot. The office was dark. Tara texted me when the state came and pulled records. They took 4 boxes, she said. He's toast. More clients came forward with their own lawsuits. Rick was hit with 5 civil claims and 1 criminal charge for insurance fraud. He pled not guilty, but the evidence was stacked. The files didn't lie. And neither did I. In court, I testified. Not about the fraud, I wasn't a customer. I testified about how he used me. How he lied in public for clout. And how he tried to smear me to protect his brand. The courtroom was cold. Rick sat at the defense table with a suit that looked 2 sizes too big. He didn't look at me. He looked at the floor. When I finished speaking, the judge asked him one question: did you or did you not claim to have paid for your niece's education? Rick paused, then said I didn't think it mattered. That was his defense. The judge shook his head. It does matter. Rick was fined over $90,000 in damages. Lost his license. His business collapsed. But here's the part one didn't expect. All the time I was so focused on revenge, so angry and hurt, I didn't see what it was doing to me. I had built my whole identity around surviving, working, proving I didn't need anyone. But that kind of pride eats at you. I'd become cold, distrustful. I didn't let anyone help, not even when friends offered. I lost a few people because of it. I snapped at my mom once when she asked if I was okay. She cried. That hit harder than anything Rick ever did. So yeah, I got my revenge. I exposed a liar, burned down his fake legacy, and made sure he paid. But it changed me too. It taught me that fighting for the truth is worth it, but so is knowing when to stop fighting and start healing. My loans are still there. I still work long hours. But when people say, you earned that degree, I know they're not just talking about the diploma. They're talking about the fight. And this time, the credit is mine. All of it.